Japan's ruling party has been in non-stop turmoil. Coalition drama with its 25-year-old partner, public frustration, and a party desperate for a reset. And somehow, newly elected Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi managed to pull off the unlikely. Her approval rating didn't just rise, it jumped to 82%. That's one of the highest numbers in modern Japanese political history. But high expectations don't guarantee stability. In fact, they often do the opposite. So in this video, we're going to break down why Takaichi's numbers exploded, which groups are driving that support, how other parties are reacting, and whether this momentum could push her into further cementing her power in Japanese politics. Opinion polls conducted on October 21 and 22 show that Prime Minister Takaichi's approval rating ranges from 64% to 75%. The more conservative Sankei Shimbun recorded at 75.4%, while the Asahi Shimbun, which is generally considered more liberal, recorded at 68%. Her disapproval rating is around 18%. For reference, previous prime ministers began with the following levels of support: Ishiba at 53.3%, Kishida at 63.2%, Suga at 74%, and Abe at 70%. Historical highs include Koizumi at approximately 85%, Hatayama at 77%, and Hosokawa at around 75%. After a week of diplomatic activity that included meetings with President Trump, ASEAN leaders, and President Xi Jinping, the latest JNN poll reports her approval at 82%. This places her among the highest recorded initial approval ratings for any prime minister in Japan's post-war history. Several factors contribute to her current level of public support. Many people express high expectations for her economic and security policies. Her economic policies favor responsible expansionary fiscal policy, meaning she is willing to use targeted government spending to support households and stimulate economic activity without immediately prioritizing budget cuts. This approach contrasts with the more cautious views seen in previous administrations, and it has gained traction among voters frustrated with rising living costs. Her defense position is more hawkish. For example, she announced that she plans to accelerate Japan's defense spending target to 2% of GDP by the end of the year instead of the original 2027 timeline. Her demeanor, often described as direct, composed, and charismatic, has also appealed to a broad range of voters. There are recent examples that support this perception. Footage shows an enthusiastic Takaichi when President Trump introduced her at US Naval Base Yokosuka. She bowed to the Korean flag during the APEC summit as a gesture of respect, and she engaged cordially with ASEAN leaders. There is also a growing sense that she may provide clearer leadership than previous administrations. Given the difficulties the LDP has faced over the past few years, it appears that many voters are looking for decisiveness and consistency. Support among younger voters is particularly notable. According to the Sankei Shimbun, 89.1% of respondents aged 18 to 29 expressed approval early in her tenure. For respondents in their 30s to 50s, support was generally in the 80% range. This trend differs from the LDP's typical demographics. Younger voters who previously leaned towards alternatives such as the DPP and Sanseto appear more open to the LDP under Takaichi. Her positions on security and institutional reform may be resonating with voters who identify as anti-establishment. Additionally, the LDP has reported more than 20,000 new membership applications since her appointment. This suggests that her appeal extends beyond passive support. Takaichi's rise has affected the approval ratings of several other parties. According to the Nikkei, the DPP declined from 9% to 6%, and the Sanseto declined from 10% to 6%. This may be due to overlapping policy positions. Takaichi has taken stances that appeal to DPP supporting voters, such as making gasoline cheaper and her expansionary fiscal policy. She has also emphasized national security, including interest in an anti-espionage law and regulations related to flag desecration, which are issues often associated with Sanseto supporters. The JIP, meanwhile, increased its support from 4% to 9%. This may reflect a broader reorganization of voter sentiment, although some analysts note that increased dependence on the LDP-led political momentum could pose risks for Ishin going forward. Despite Takaichi's surge, LDP party support has not increased significantly, remaining around 30%. This indicates a gap between approval for the Prime Minister and support for the party itself. In addition, CDP support remains at around 7%, and Komeito support is stable at approximately 4%. Previous administrations provide useful context. Former Prime Minister Suga began with high support but faced a rapid decline due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Prime Minister Kishida maintained a relatively stable approval until issues largely beyond his control. Abe's state funeral, the Unification Church controversy, and the slush fund scandal reduced trust in his administration. Even Prime Minister Abe, who began his second term with about 70% approval, frequently fluctuated between the 40 to 60% range, occasionally dropping toward 30% before recovering. Takaichi's current support levels are driven heavily by expectations for change. This pattern resembles figures such as Koizumi, Hatoyama, and Hosokawa, who all entered office with strong anti-establishment momentum. Historically, approval built on expectations tends to be volatile. However, like Abe, Takaichi has a sizable and loyal supporter base, which may provide more stability than some recent prime ministers experienced. This environment has led to speculation about a possible snap election. Arguments in favor include a possibility of using her current momentum to secure a stronger mandate. Approval above 80% is a significant political asset. A successful early election could help the LDP regain single-party dominance and provide 4 years of relative stability. This is particularly relevant because the JIP is participating through a non-cabinet coalition, meaning the party could leave the arrangement at any time. However, there are also clear risks. Takaichi's personal popularity has not fully translated into support for the LDP, and campaigning without Komeito would be more challenging. For these reasons, a snap election is not guaranteed. Takaichi has stated that she does not plan to dissolve the lower house early. Even so, some analysts suggest that the election could occur in early 2026 or after the approval of the next budget. An incredible number of citizens seem genuinely excited about having a female prime minister with an unconventional approach to economic policy. This level of optimism and expectation is something Japan hasn't seen in a long time. Where this goes from here will depend on how she navigates the next few months. Takaichi could use this momentum to revive the LDP's sluggish performance and shape a legacy comparable to Abe or even surpass him. But the opposite is also possible. Her popularity could fall faster than any recent prime minister, especially with steeper risks of declining support, unprecedented challenges without the Komeito, a minority government, and a fragmented multi-party parliament. So do you think Takaichi can maintain her approval ratings in the coming weeks, given the current political climate, or do you think the current numbers are mostly copium? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll be covering these developments as they unfold, so like and share the video if you learned something new, and subscribe to learn more about Japanese politics.